Hi, I'm Kaylee. After 15 months of deployment in a remote desert outpost where every day blended into the next like an endless beige painting, I was finally heading home. Home to my little blue house with the white picket fence that I'd purchased with my savings 3 years ago. Home to my own bed, my own shower, and my collection of vintage vinyl records that had kept me company during lonely nights before I enlisted. Ma'am, we'll be landing in approximately 20 minutes, the flight attendant said, gently touching my shoulder. I blinked away thoughts of a hot bath and my favorite pajamas. Thanks. Can't wait to touch American soil again. She smiled. Thank you for your service. Welcome home. The sentiment warmed me, but as the plane descended, a nagging feeling gnawed at my stomach. My mom had been unusually vague during our video calls over the past few months. When I mentioned specific rooms in my house or asked about my plants, she'd change the subject with the subtlety of a hand grenade. After landing, I grabbed my duffel and caught a rideshare to my neighborhood. The driver, a chatty guy named Pete, kept glancing at me in the rearview mirror. Military, right? My brother served too. Where were you stationed? Classified location in the Middle East. 15 months of sand in places sand should never be, I said with a half smile. Bet you can't wait to sleep in your own bed tonight. You have no idea. My house is the only thing that kept me going some days. Thinking about my garden, my kitchen. I trailed off as we turned onto my street. Pete whistled. Nice neighborhood. Which one's yours? The blue one with the... My words dried up like desert rain. My house wasn't blue anymore. It was a garish yellow with brown trim. My meticulously maintained front garden had been replaced with patchy grass and random shrubs. And there was a trampoline. A trampoline where my Japanese maple had stood. Something wrong? Pete asked. I think there's been a mistake, I mumbled, double-checking the address. But there was no mistake. The house number matched. This was my property, transformed beyond recognition. As Pete unloaded my bag, the front door opened. A child I didn't recognize darted out, followed by my sister Vanessa, looking heavier than I remembered, and wearing what appeared to be maternity clothes. Kaylee, you're early. We weren't expecting you until tomorrow. Her voice was high and nervous, eyes darting between me and the house. What are you doing here? And what happened to my house? My voice was deadly calm, the same tone I used when addressing subordinates who'd made a critical error. Mom didn't tell you? Oh God, she was supposed to... I cut her off. Tell me what exactly? A car pulled into the driveway and my mother stepped out, grocery bags in hand. She froze when she saw me, her expression morphing from shock to guilt faster than a chameleon changes colors. Kaylee, sweetheart, welcome home! She hurried over, arms outstretched as if 15 months away could be erased with a hug. I stepped back. What's going on, Mom? Why is Vanessa at my house? Why is it yellow? Where's my maple tree? Mom's smile faltered. Well, honey, Vanessa and Greg were having such a hard time after he lost his job, and their landlord sold their building, and with the new baby coming, they needed a place, and your house was just sitting empty. My house wasn't sitting empty. I was deployed, serving our country, and you gave away my house without asking me? Each word came out like an ice cube. Not gave away, just letting them stay until they get back on their feet, Mom said, fidgeting with her purse strap. And they've been taking good care of it. Taking good care of it? They painted it yellow. There's a trampoline where my maple tree was. Vanessa stepped forward. The tree was diseased, Kaylee, and the house needed brightening up. You should be thanking us for maintaining it while you were gone. I stared at her in disbelief. Maintaining it? You've completely changed it, without permission. Greg appeared in the doorway, another child clinging to his leg. Hey, Soldier Girl's home. Come on in, we just made lemonade. It's my house. I shouldn't need an invitation to come in, I said through gritted teeth. My phone rang. My neighbor, Diane, whose number I'd texted from the plane. Kaylee, are you home? I saw a rideshare pull up. I am, but apparently so is half my family. Can you come over? I think I need a witness for whatever this is. On my way. Don't sign anything, she said before hanging up. Mom gave me a pleading look. Let's discuss this inside, honey. The neighbors don't need to hear family business. I shouldered past her. Seems like family business is exactly what everyone needs to hear right now. Stepping into my own house felt like entering an alternate dimension. My minimalist decor had been replaced with floral prints and beige furniture. Children's toys littered the floor, and what had been my home office was now clearly a nursery. Family photos, Vanessa's family, not mine, covered the walls. Diane arrived within minutes, her face darkening as she took in the scene. "Oh, Kaylee, I'm so sorry. I knew something was off when they moved in, but your mom swore you'd approved it." "You knew about this?" I asked. "I tried calling you, but your mom said you were in a no-contact zone. I sent emails." "I never got any emails," I said, turning to my mother. "Did you access my accounts while I was gone?" Mom flushed. "I just checked occasionally to make sure you weren't missing anything important." Diane crossed her arms. "I should have pushed harder. But after they changed your locks—" "They what?" I nearly shouted. Greg stepped between us, hands raised placatingly. Now, let's all calm down. Your mom gave us permission. We've been paying the utilities, keeping the place up." "But not my mortgage, I'm guessing," I said. "And changing locks on property you don't own is illegal." Vanessa scoffed. "Don't be dramatic. Mom had your power of attorney. For medical emergencies only, not for giving away my house." Mom wrung her hands. "Kaylee, please. They had nowhere to go, and you've always been so independent. I thought you'd want to help your sister. By asking me first, not by making decisions about my property behind my back." "We can talk about this like adults," Greg said, his tone condescending. "You military types are always so rigid." Diane stepped closer to me. "I think you should call James." "James Bennett? The lawyer?" I asked. "He handled my divorce. He's good, really good." Greg's expression shifted. "Lawyers? Come on, we're family. We don't need to involve outsiders." "We stopped being family the moment you decided my property was yours to take," I said, pulling out my phone. Vanessa burst into tears. "You'd throw your own sister out? With 3 kids and another on the way? Where are we supposed to go?" "The same place you would have gone if I hadn't been deployed and my house wasn't available," I replied coldly. "Your poor planning isn't my emergency." James answered on the second ring. After explaining the situation, he agreed to meet us immediately at the local diner. "I need to see what else they've done," I said, moving toward the stairs. Greg blocked my path. "Now wait a minute. We've got privacy rights too." "In my house? I don't think so." "Our home," Vanessa corrected. "We've been living here for 10 months. We have tenant rights." "Without a lease? Without my permission?" "I don't think so," I repeated, pushing past Greg. Mom followed me upstairs, her voice cracking. "Kaylee, please. They'll be homeless. Think of the children." I whirled on her. Where was this concern for me? "Did you think about where I'd live when I returned? Or did you just assume I'd roll over and give up my home?" "We thought maybe you could stay with me until they find a new place." I laughed bitterly. "Well, they've got my house? Not happening." My bedroom had been converted into a master suite for Vanessa and Greg. My clothes were gone from the closet, replaced by their belongings. My vintage record collection was nowhere to be seen. "Where are my records? My clothes? My things?" My voice was dangerously quiet. "In storage," Mom said quickly. "We kept everything. Well, most things." "Most things?" "Some items were damaged in the move, or the children might have played with them." I closed my eyes, counting to 10. "I want an inventory. Everything. And James will be helping me document all of this." Diane appeared in the doorway. "James is waiting at the diner. He says to bring any ownership documentation you have." "I have digital copies of everything," I said, relieved that at least my cloud storage was safe. "Let's go." As we headed for the door, Greg called out, "So what? You're just leaving? What about our dinner?" I turned, incredulous. "Your dinner in my house? I think you've taken enough from me already." "You're overreacting," Vanessa said. "It's just stuff. Family is what matters." "I couldn't agree more," I replied. And real family doesn't steal from each other while they're serving their country. James Bennett was exactly as I remembered from Diane's divorce proceedings. Sharp, direct, and reassuringly confident. He'd already claimed a corner booth at the diner and had a legal pad covered in notes when we arrived. "Kaylee, good to see you. Though I wish under better circumstances," he said, standing to shake my hand. Diane filled me in on the basics. "You have the documents?" I pulled out my phone. Digital copies of the deed, mortgage statements, tax records, everything. Excellent. And you gave no written permission for your family to occupy the property? Absolutely not, I said firmly. What about verbal permission? None. I wouldn't have agreed to this under any circumstances. James nodded, taking notes. And your power of attorney? Limited medical POA only, specifically for emergency decisions if I was incapacitated during deployment. Perfect. This is straightforward illegal occupation. He looked up. The good news is, we can have them removed. The bad news is, if they've established any kind of tenancy, even illegally, we'll need to follow proper eviction procedures. How long will that take? I asked. Given the circumstances, military deployment, unauthorized access, property alterations without consent, we can expedite things. I'll file for an emergency hearing tomorrow morning. Diane leaned forward. What about the damage to the property? The tree they removed? The painting? James's eyes narrowed. Documented damages are recoverable. Do you have before pictures of the property? My home insurance records would have them, I said. And Diane probably has some too. Send them to me immediately. We'll need to document current conditions as well. They've also apparently put some of my personal belongings in storage, I added, including valuable collectibles. Conversion of property. Also actionable, James noted. Here's what we're going to do. First, we're getting you back into your house legally. Second, we're documenting everything they've done without permission. Third, we're filing for damages. A text message lit up my phone. Vanessa, please come back and talk this through. We can work something out. They're trying to negotiate, I said, showing James the message. He snorted. Classic. They know they're in the wrong. Respond that all communication should go through me from now on. As I typed the response, another message appeared from Mom. You're breaking your sister's heart, after all we've done for you. I showed James again, my hands shaking with anger. Let me handle this, he said, taking my phone. He typed a response, then handed it back for my approval. This is James Bennett, Kaylee's attorney. Cease direct communication immediately. All matters regarding the illegal occupation of my client's property will be handled through proper legal channels. Further attempts to contact my client directly may be considered harassment. Perfect, I said, hitting send. Now, James continued, we need to discuss what you want out of this. Removal of the occupants is clear, but what about damages? I thought for a moment. I want my house restored to its original condition at their expense. I want compensation for the tree they destroyed. And I want them to understand they can't just take what's mine because it's convenient for them. And your relationship with them afterward? Diane asked gently. That's up to them, I said. But I don't see how I can ever trust them again. James nodded. Fair enough. Let's proceed with the legal actions first. Emotions can be dealt with later. My phone buzzed again. Mom, you're making a terrible mistake. We're family. James took the phone again. Let's make this crystal clear, he muttered as he typed. Mrs. Parker, I've advised my client to document all communications as potential evidence of harassment following our request to cease direct contact. The unauthorized use, alteration, and occupation of my client's property while she was deployed on military service may additionally trigger protections under the Service Members Civil Relief Act. Further communication will only strengthen our case. He showed me the message. Send this, then turn off notifications from them. We focus on the legal strategy now, not emotional manipulation. I sent the message, then muted my family's contacts. What's our next step? We go back to your house with a police escort to document everything. Then we file for the emergency hearing. James said. Are you ready? I squared my shoulders. More than ready. 3 weeks later, I stood in my newly restored living room. The walls were blue again, the floors refinished, and new furniture had replaced what couldn't be salvaged. A young Japanese maple sapling stood in the front yard. Not the same as my original tree, but a fresh start. The doorbell rang. It was Diane, carrying a bottle of wine and a small housewarming gift. Place looks amazing, she said, handing me the package. Almost like they were never here. Almost, I agreed, letting her in. The contractor did a great job, and the insurance company covered most of it once they saw the documentation. Have you heard from them? She asked cautiously. Not directly. Everything still goes through James. I poured us each a glass of wine. The court ordered them to pay for all repairs, plus damages for the tree and my personal belongings they damaged. They're also covering my temporary housing costs for the 3 weeks I couldn't live here. And your mom? I sighed. She sent a letter through James. Said she thought she was helping Vanessa and didn't realize how it would affect me. Classic mom. Always putting Vanessa first. Are you going to respond? Eventually, but not yet. I'm still processing everything. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Captain Rodriguez from my unit, along with several other service members. Surprise housewarming, he announced with a grin. Hope you don't mind the invasion. I laughed. Best kind of invasion. Come in. As my friends filled the house with laughter and conversation, my phone buzzed with a text from James. Court denied their appeal. Judgment stands. Full payment due within 30 days. Rodriguez noticed my expression. Good news? Justice, I replied. Sweet, legal justice. Your sister still trying to wiggle out of responsibility? He asked. Tried and failed. The judge was a veteran himself. Didn't appreciate what they did while I was deployed. Later, as everyone gathered in the living room, Rodriguez raised his glass. To Kali, who fought for her country and then had to fight for her home, and won both battles. Everyone cheered, and Diane squeezed my hand. You okay? I looked around at my restored home, filled with people who actually cared about me. You know what? I really am. Your mom called me yesterday, Diane admitted quietly. Asked if you'd ever forgive them. What did you tell her? That forgiveness is earned, not owed, and that she should start by respecting your boundaries. I nodded. Exactly. They can't just say sorry and expect everything to go back to normal. Some betrayals cut too deep. Do you think you'll ever have a relationship with them again? I considered the question carefully. Maybe someday, on my terms. But they need to understand that actions have consequences, and trust, once broken, isn't easily repaired. As the evening wound down and my friends departed one by one, I stood in my doorway, watching them leave. The house was mine again. Different in some ways. New furniture, new tree, new memories to make, but undeniably mine. Rodriguez was the last to leave. Hey, Sergeant Parker. What you did here, standing up for yourself, doing it the right way, that took the same kind of courage you showed overseas. I smiled. Thanks, Cap. Sometimes the hardest battles are the ones at home. So what's next for you? He asked. Enjoying my house, my life, my peace? And your family? They'll have to earn back what they took, I said firmly. And I'm not talking about the house. After he left, I locked my door, with my new keys that only I possessed, and walked through each room, running my hands along the walls. Mine again. Reclaimed, protected. What's your house worth to you? And what would you do if someone took it while you were away fighting for your country? I hope you never have to find out. But if you do, remember, stand your ground, know your rights, and never let anyone convince you that your boundaries don't matter, even if they're family. Especially if they're family.